Bonjour mes amis, je m'appelle Tito, je fais des vidéos sur les finances personnelles sur mon autre chaîne, mais sur cette chaîne je parle d'autres choses comme aujourd'hui où je vais revoir le film Ada Omodadi.
Ireti's carefully constructed world collides with her past on the day of her daughter's introduction when an unexpected phone call starts a chain of events that throws her family into chaos. Ada Omodadi is produced by Mercy Aigbe and directed by Kazim Adeoti and Akay Mason.
Now, before I dive into the review, guys, I do have a couple of announcements to make. I wish I could have left them to the end of the video, but they'll be beneficial to you because they apply to this particular review as well. First of all, most importantly, like this video by clicking on the like button and subscribe to the channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. That's very important because I've noticed that engagement on my videos is a bit low. You guys aren't really clicking on that like button. You're not subscribing as well. It's discouraging. And, you know, if those numbers don't go up or if they're not encouraging, essentially, it's hard. It makes it hard for me to be gingered to come back week after week to do this thing for you guys. I do it for myself too, but, you know, if I just want to just say, hey, no review this week, some of you may not like that. So to encourage me to keep coming back week after week, let's like and subscribe and share with friends and family. The main thing I want to say before I dive into the review is that this review and largely my other reviews for the remainder of December and maybe January as well would be longer than usual because there are so many things coming out during this period in terms of movies, right, on streaming and in cinemas. And the only way I can keep up with the supply of films in terms of making reviews is if I just do these reviews like podcast style, where I'm just talking and I don't do too much cutting in editing, because believe it or not, cutting stuff out in editing takes a lot of time. So essentially, the December reviews will be a bit long, and that may mean that there'll be mistakes in them, like my phone, you know, beeping and stuff like that, and me saying ums and ahs. You know, these are things that I typically cut out in my normal reviews, but like I said, we'll be doing slightly longer reviews for the rest of December and a little bit, you know, into January. And I think it's good because you get a more comprehensive review. I get to say more about the films. I'm not rushing. I'm not leaving things out. I'm saying things that I feel I need to say and things that I think will be relevant for you guys. So yeah, that's that. Also, one last thing, please guys, watch the adverts that play during my reviews or like in the middle of my reviews or whatever. And, you know, click on them too as well. They'll open in a separate tab. Some of you don't know, but the way that we make money on YouTube, many of us YouTubers, is from you guys watching the adverts that play during our videos or in between our videos. Not just watching the adverts, but also clicking on them. You know, once you engage with the ads, we get paid, you know, on the back end through Google and YouTube's magic. So yeah, in order to make me happy and to encourage me, aside from liking and subscribing, watch those adverts, click on some of them, let them open on a separate tab, and just continue watching the review here. It's these little things that really do matter to me and that encourage me to keep on doing this. We're going into a new year, 2024, and, you know, I'm not where I want to be, you know, with this YouTube channel and with my numbers and engagement and all that. So I'm making a conscious effort to let you guys know what I want and where I'm trying to get to. And I'm hoping you guys will understand that and respect that and, you know, join me in trying to forge ahead to where we want this channel to go and these reviews to go. All that said and done, now let's dive into le performance in this film, Ada Omodadi. Now, if you see me glancing down, it's because I'm checking out my trusty notes. I've seen so many Nollywood films in the past few weeks that there's so many things in my head, and I just want to make sure that I don't omit anything and that I'm even talking about the right film, which is why I have my notes in front of me. So, Ada Omodadi, the first performance, Omowunmi Dada, the star of the movie. She plays Peril, and she does a really good job. Was it Omowunmi Dada? Like, I've not seen her before. First of all, the costuming, it seems like the same type of like semi-corporate outfits that Omowunmi Dada wears in many films that she's in. She did okay. I think this is the most I've seen Omowunmi Dada speaking Yoruba in a movie. That was interesting. That was nice to see. The acting was good. It's the character I took issue with. I felt like the character she plays, Peril, in this film was problematic. I didn't feel the way I think I should have felt about Pero. Pero let me down, kind of. You know, she didn't seem very bright, you know, and she was doing certain silly things. And yeah, for the protagonist of the film, I don't know if that's how I'm meant to feel about the protagonist of the film. Well, Omowunmi Dada, she did fantastically well. Her acting alongside some of the other people in this film, particularly Sola Sobowale, was very impressive. They share a couple of scenes in this film that are very moving, one especially, and it was nice to see. I don't think I've ever seen them paired before in a film, but that scene was really good. That scene did more for Sola Sobowale than it did for Omowunmi Dada, but regardless, because they were speaking in Yoruba in that scene, it was very impressive. Sola Sobowale, who plays Ireti in this film, Omowunmi Dada's character's mom. It was like normal Sola Sobowale, if I'm being honest. You know, this rich, middle-aged woman with grown kids, and who gets flared up from time to time. And you know, we do see Sola Sobowale being gregarious and being upset and just going off the rails on people in other films, and she does that in this movie as well. But she speaks, well, in other films she speaks Yoruba predominantly, but she speaks Yoruba predominantly in this film. But it's interesting how Sola Sobowale makes this type of character seem refreshing, or at least entertaining to see each time we do see it. You know, it's like I said, it's nothing particularly new, but you still enjoy it. I still really got a lot of value watching Sola Sobowale play Ireti in this film. This mother with 3 grown kids who is trying to raise her kids right, but is kind of losing that battle to the world, sort of, you know. Next, Mercy Aigbe. I have to say, well, first of all, Mercy Aigbe, this is her movie. She produces this film, and the buzz around the film is that this is Mercy Aigbe's film. It's one of the big films coming out this Christmas or this December, right? So look out for it. Surprisingly, she's not the star of the film. She's in a supporting role, so you don't see her that much in the movie. But I really became a bigger fan of Mercy Aigbe's recently, after seeing her in Ololade. Earlier this month or late last month in November? I think it was late last month, November. I liked her dynamic with Femi Adebayo in that film. And yeah, I was looking forward to actually seeing her in this film, Ada Omodadi. She plays Motunrayo, or Auntie Motunrayo, kind of like the sister of Sola Sobowale's character. They seemed quite organic together. You know, the dynamic between Mercy Aigbe and Sola Sobowale, two of them like causing grief and giving people a headache in the film. It seemed really organic. The acting flowed. The Yoruba between both of them flowed. They looked like they were really sisters or like close friends in real life. Who else is in this film? Charles Okafor, I believe his name is. Well, another individual whose acting I did not mind. The acting was actually giving. It was good, but it's the character that I took issue with. You know, the character could have been better written. There are things going on with the character that did not seem to be resolved. Yes, if I can put it that way. There were loose ends with the character. The acting was good. He did what he needed to do. He was convincing. But the character had issues, and I think it was down to writing. And I'm going to like hammer on that writing issue when I talk about what I didn't like about this film, because this was a good film. It did above average in most other categories, but in terms of writing, yes, there were loopholes there, but I digress. Let's move on. So yeah, Charles Okafor was good. This film, there's a lot of Yoruba in it, but there's also a lot of Igbo in it. You know, Charles Okafor, you know, spars in Igbo with Chiwetalu Agu, who is also in the film, who I'm going to talk about next. Chiwetalu Agu is, you know, one of the veterans of Nollywood and one of like those icons, an actor that people really respect and look up to. But in this film, he's in a supporting role, but he's just kind of, I wouldn't say relegated, but it feels like it was not a befitting character or role for him. He's just there echoing other people's sentences in most of the film.
You're asking me to shut my mouth? Shut it. Koshidanu! She said Koshidanu. That when a Yoruba woman tells you Koshidanu, it means war.
You know, and he seems to be like a figurehead for the movie, like just somebody whose face they can put on the poster to sell tickets. they could have done more with Chiwetalu Agu, and he's a fantastic actor, a brilliant man. He's really great when you give him stuff to do, but they just didn't give him enough stuff to do, and they didn't write him well enough into the story of this film. And like I said, largely, he just has scenes with Charles Okafor, and they speak Igbo a lot, but I wish we saw more from the guy, and I wish they did more with his character. Who else do I want to talk about? Who else was in this film? Tayo Faniran. Lord Jesus, please don't let Tayo Faniran watch this review. I mean, the guy, have you seen his tattoos? I don't want problems with Tayo Faniran. But Tayo Faniran is in this film as Victor. Tayo as an actor, I've only seen Tayo in Gangs of Lagos, to be honest. And he was good in that, in the sense that he really fit that role. If you remember Gangs of Lagos, you remember his role and his character. Plus, his character wasn't in the film for that long. So it was just the right amount of Tayo Faniran in that film. In this film, we do get a lot more Tayo Faniran in the movie, but I'm not sure if Tayo Faniran was the guy for the job, because he's the love interest of Omowunmi's character. Their boyfriend and girlfriend, they actually get engaged in the film. But when you think of lover boys and the guy who plays the loving fiance and boyfriend in a film, I don't think you think of Tayo Faniran. Emotional range, maybe that's the term I'm struggling with. I don't know if... Okay, I think and it's not just with Tayo, I think with a lot of the characters and actors in this film, they didn't require a lot from them, so they didn't push them hard enough. Had they pushed Tayo harder to give more emotion, or to show more emotion as a boyfriend in this film, I think he may have done better, right? But the acting just felt a bit robotic and vanilla, a bit bland, yeah. Tayo is a good actor, but I don't know if this was the role for him. I think Tayo is better at tough guy roles, you know, not lover boy roles. Yes. And I really had issues with his character, Victor. Really had issues. So much so that at a point, I said, wait first, let's leave what's going on in this film. Let's face this guy, Victor, and why he's doing these things that do not make sense. Yes. But like I said, that was down to how that character was written, not necessarily how Tayo was acting out that character. Finally, Fina from Big Brother Naija was in this. Did Fina win her season? I think she did. So Fina plays the younger version of Ireti, or the younger Ireti, who is the character played by Sola Sobowale. So Sola Sobowale is the older version, Fina plays the younger version. Fina does an okay job. She's convincing. She's not in the film for too long, but for the short period that she's in it, she does well. My issue is that you're playing the younger version of a very Yoruba Sola Sobowale. I don't think Fina spoke any Yoruba or even tried to speak with a Yoruba accent in the film while playing the younger version of Ireti. Once again, I think it's a matter of the producer and director not pushing for that kind of seemingly minute detail that would have actually gone a long way. So yeah, I don't think the producer director pushed for a little extra or some excellence, right? And also, I don't think the characters or the writer wrote, you know, certain minute things that would have made a significant difference, in my opinion, particularly for people like me who look out for minor details. And I think it's these small details, I think I said in the previous review a while ago, that it's these small details or attention to detail that sets good movies, or sets really good movies or great movies apart from average movies or mediocre movies or movies that are just good, right? But yes, we're done with that. Let's move on to Qui devrait le voir. First of all, I liked that this film had lots of Yoruba and Igbo in it. You know, indigenous language films in Nollywood they've been a big deal in 2023, and I think we're going to be seeing more of that as time goes on. But yeah, I like that we heard a lot of both languages, Igbo and Yoruba, in the film. I think that was slightly different. Typically, it's one or the other, right? I also like that the characters in this film really looked rich and affluent, and they communicated it, you know, with their environment and their attire and all that. We didn't need to see private jets or Rolls Royces out Is Rolls Royces the plural of Rolls Royce? I hope it is. We need to see those things, you know, for us to know that they were rich and affluent. It was giving, you know, and they didn't do the most to show how rich these characters were. The wardrobe was really good, and the accessories, particularly for Mercy Aigbe. She had lots of gold and, you know, jewelry going on, but the outfits were nice. For all the characters, even the men, you know, Tayo was well dressed. I think Dele Odule was also well dressed. Yeah, everyone looked really nice. I noticed the costuming, but particularly the ladies, Mercy Aigbe and Shalash Bali. What else did I like about the film? There was a slap. Somebody in this movie got the taste slapped out their mouth. That was some brilliant acting. And that slap. I mean, there's no point in this film where I felt like it was dipping, or I felt like, or they had lost my attention. There was no point. But if there was, that slap would have woken me up and got me back in the game. What else did I like? Yeah, this film really got me feeling different emotions. They weren't necessarily positive emotions. I felt agitation, I felt anger, I felt frustration, I had questions, I was mumbling things to myself, but I give credit to any film that can make me feel those kinds of emotions. You know, films that make me feel disgust and feel like irritation that I don't like. Those are the negative emotions that I don't like. But negative emotions like the ones I mentioned of, you know, just frustration or agitation and just having questions and stuff like that, to a decent degree, at least anyway, I like films like that. And this film had me in my feelings. It almost had me triggered, you know, with what was going on. And I'll maybe delve a bit more into that when I talk about what I didn't like about the movie, because I may need to talk about one or two things that that didn't work, you know, in this film, for you to properly understand, because I know many of you watching haven't seen the movie yet. Ce que je n'ai pas aimé. Like I said earlier, I didn't like the fact that Fina didn't attempt to speak with a Yoruba accent or, you know, say a few things in Yoruba. I mean, she's playing a younger version of a character played by Sola Sobowale, and in the film, Shalash Bali speaks a lot of Yoruba. So I felt like, you know, that was a missed opportunity. Secondly, this film was good, but the writing was so flawed. For one, Omowunmi Dada, and this is where we're getting into spoiler territory, so I may say one or two things that may give you an idea about the film, but I'll still try and be sensitive. Like I said, I'm sure many of you haven't seen the movie. Omowunmi Dada's character, Pero, she's not empowered, right? She seems, the way they make her look a bit dense and insensitive when you really think about what's going on with the character and other characters around her or tied to her. Because there are things going on that ideally the normal person would have, with common sense, would not do certain things or would go about things a different way, but not Pero. Pero just does what she wants to do, and I don't think that served the character. It didn't make me sympathize with the character, and it didn't make me like the character. It made me feel like the character, I said, was a bit dense and insensitive. Also with Victor, played by Faniran, who was the fiancé of Pero. You know, they start off as boyfriend and girlfriend, and he proposes in one of the weakest, I should say, the weakest proposal that I've seen in a Nollywood film in a very long time. That proposal scene was terrible. Yeah, and we can even pin that as something else that I didn't like about this movie. That proposal scene was whack. But yeah, coming back to Victor, right? Let me just say this, and there's a big spoiler is kind of coming ahead. So there's a point where Pero, played by Omowunmi Dada, where she goes missing. Her family calls Victor, i.e. her fiancé, to say around midnight. That's to say, look, we can't find Pero. Is she with you? And Victor says, no, she's not with me. And he drops the phone call. The conversation ends. He drops the phone, and he continues having a bubble bath. He was having a bubble bath when the call came in. He continues with his bubble bath. He goes to bed. He sleeps peacefully, apparently. Wakes up the following morning, not early in the morning, around like maybe 9-10, because when he came downstairs, his mother was already dressed. You know, she was reading the newspaper. So it wasn't early in the morning. It was like 9-10-ish. And then he says he's going to Pero's parents' house to go and find out what's going on with Pero. My issue is that you are engaged to somebody, her family calls you at midnight that this somebody is missing, nobody knows her whereabouts, and you sleep peacefully. And we don't even wake up at the crack of dawn to go and find your fiance, or to figure out where she is. You sleep peacefully, you dress up well. I mean, maybe even had breakfast before he goes to go and find out the whereabouts of his missing fiance. It was at that point I was like, wait, film, pause. Everything that's happening in this film, just waits to one side. What is up with this young man? How illogical is this that your wife-to-be is missing and you're just so blasé about it? So that's just to show you how poor the writing in this film was, because that kind of thing in real life does not happen. But aside from that, there are other instances where it just seemed like Victor, first of all, he's a rich kid. They didn't establish what this guy does for a living. He lives at home with his parents, his father is a rich politician. They just did not make Victor look good in this film. The writing didn't make Victor look like the kind of person that you want your protagonist to marry. The guy looked just like a waste man, kind of. He likes the woman. He likes Pero. He's affectionate. They have good banter in Yoruba and everything. But when you look, not even under a microscope, just generally, the guy didn't seem like he was worth it. And it's not just him. There are a few other characters in the movie, like even Ifeanyi, this character who comes from the East. He leaves everything he's doing, comes from the East. The reason why he comes from the East to Lagos doesn't seem weighty enough. Let me just end it here, because if not, I'll be giving away intricate details of this film and of the plot, and I don't want to do that. Maybe you guys should just go and see the film and you understand. But coming to Ifeanyi, right, what I put down in my notes is that, so this is a guy or a character who is one of the ones who deserves a second chance, or who the film tries to make us see he needs a second chance, or is asking for a second chance. Nothing that happened in this film, in my opinion, showed that he deserved a second chance, as much as they were trying to shove that second chance down our throats. Lastly, tied to the bad writing, I feel like one character in this film, Pero's mom, played by Shalash Bali, was done a great injustice. And I feel like many of the characters in the film, 3 in particular, were quite insensitive to Pero's mom, i.e. Ireti, played by Sola Sobowale, because she struggled as a single mom at a point, right? But all these years later, with the things happening in the film in present day, it felt like people did not consider what she went through in the past. It felt rather insensitive. And this is an issue for me, because I felt like it was passing across a bad message. I felt like the movie was passing across a message of emotional manipulation, and disregarding people's feelings is okay, all in the name of forgive and forget, or give someone a second chance. I'm sorry, I'm sure you guys are confused and you don't understand what I'm talking about, but you'll see the film eventually. I think it's actually worth going to go and see it in the cinemas if you're in Nigeria, right? See it in the cinemas. Whether or not you'll be happy with it is a different story, but if you like something that gets you emotionally charged, or gets you slightly triggered, or at least gets you worked up on the insides, right, then I think you should actually see this film. But suffice to say that the writing in this film was what I did not like, or what I liked the least about this movie. And I left the cinema wanting to fight somebody, particularly the writers of this movie. I really left this film triggered and wanting to just have a go at someone. Yeah. Qui devrait le voir? Oh, I forgot to mention, the final thing I didn't like about this film was the wedding scene at the end. It lasted too long and it was too rowdy, and it was giving wedding party. It was a bit unnecessary and could have been done better. But who should actually see this movie? If you're a fan of Yoruba Nollywood, I think you'll enjoy the movie. If you like a good scandal or a scandalous type of film, I think you'll enjoy the movie. Finally, if you're a fan of Shalash Bali's or Mercy Aigbe's, I think you'll enjoy the movie as well. So on December 15th, Friday, December 15th, I saw Breath of Life, I saw A Tribe Called Judah, and I saw this film, Ada Omodadi. I'm tempted to say, well, Ada Omodadi got me the most emotionally invested. I'll put it that way. And I'm tempted to say it's the one I enjoyed the most, or that I wish I watched with someone the most, because there's so many talking points from that movie. But like I said, it did leave me triggered and a bit angry, but it left me feeling emotions, well, much more than the other two films. But yeah, it's a good one. If you're a fan of Mercy Aigbe's, go and see it. It's in cinemas now. I wonder how it will fare against Funke Akindele's film A Tribe Called Judah and Tony Abraham's film Malaika, which will come out, I think, on Christmas Day or next week anyway. A few public service announcements before I end the video or end this review. I do have a number of reviews to do before the year is over. I mean, I have to do the Malaika review. This is Lagos is also coming out. Love and Life comes out on Prime Video as well. But I need to see those films and maybe review them as well before I do my best of 2023 and my worst of 2023. I know many of you are waiting for those two videos. Last year, in 2022, I released my best and worst in December, but I think I released them before Giacomo, the Born Again Stripper, came out, and before Battle on Booker Street came out. And that was a huge mistake, because I think those films should have been in the top 10 best or worst, right? And as a result, they weren't, because I rushed. So this year, I'm going to wait to see all the films I need to see before I do my best and worst of 2023. Also, I've released a review, no, not a review, a video where I interviewed the stars of the film Breath of Life, Wale Ojo, Ekwedewo, Chimeze Imo, and Genevieve Ume. That video is not doing too well. You guys aren't really warming up to it. It's a great video. It's different. I really enjoyed interviewing the stars of the film. So please go and check out that interview video. I'll link it in the card in the corner of the screen. I also have a separate video where I play a fun game with them called How Well Do You Know Your Co-Stars? Check that video out as well. It will be in the corner of the screen and in the description box down below, or maybe even in the comments. I'm also doing, throughout the month of December, I'm doing my Nollywood Awards. To find out, or to stay up to date with that stuff, check my YouTube shorts, the shorts tab of this channel. And to find out the winner and other announcements, check the community tab, because that's where the winners will be announced. So all that is going on throughout the month of December, not just on YouTube, but also on my TikTok and my Instagram. And I'm talking about the Nollywood Awards of 2023, where you guys get to vote for your best actor, best actress, best director, best film, and best web series, I do believe. So yeah, we're doing that throughout this month of December. What else? Oh yes, membership in 2024. I will be launching memberships in 2024. So YouTube has this thing that's kind of like a Patreon or something like that, where for a month, for a fee, every month you can subscribe, you can be a member of an exclusive community on my channel, where you get exclusive content. Maybe you get things like getting my reviews earlier than everyone else. Maybe there are certain videos or certain reviews that only members, paying members of the community will get, that everyone else won't. So things like that, I'm still trying to shape it and structure it properly and come up with a price regime and different tiers of membership, but I will launch that, hopefully, fingers crossed, in January. And this is important because, I mean, I've been looking at 2023, particularly with my YouTube channel, and it's tough to come here week in and week out to do these reviews, and it's also costs a lot of money to watch movies at the cinema. Prices went up this year. So what I'm saying is, I'd like this to be more profitable for me so that I can continue doing it and, you know, providing this unique service to you guys. So in order to do that, continue, you know, watching the adverts that show in the middle of my reviews, but also you may want to become a member, a paying member of my channel to get exclusive content, and so that I can earn a bit more and stay encouraged to continue doing what I'm doing here on YouTube. I really want to continue doing it, but you know, we all have economic needs and we have bills to pay. So I'm just trying to figure out how to make all this stuff, right, make economic sense for me. So memberships is one option, right? So please, you guys should warm up to it. I know we're always a bit averse when people want to start charging for something that was previously free, but it's just the way the world works. It's capitalism, and it's not essentially greed, but it's just trying to make sure that things are sustainable, basically. There still will be lots of free content. Most of my reviews will be free, but there will be exclusive content in 2024 that will only be available to paying members of the community. So this is just one of the things I'm working towards for January/February next year, 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching this long review. I apologize for it being so long. I hope you got value out of it. Remember to like and subscribe and share my content with anyone who you feel will enjoy it. And also, please watch the adverts that play during my reviews and click on them as well so that I can earn it. Thank you guys so much. If you see Ada Omo Daddy, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know how you felt about the movie and what you thought about the film. For the final time, guys, thank you so much. I will catch you in the next one. Take care.